Hello and welcome in Marketing Mix Modeling 101. This will be the only course you will need to get started with marketing mix modeling. In fact, by the end of the course, you'll be able to understand so much about it that you can get the idea whether or not these are for you, if they can help your business, or you will be able to actually handle a complete project by yourself for either your business or your clients. And to give you a little context about myself, I'm Cristian Nozzi. I'm one of the founders and CTO of Hybrida Marketing, which is a growth hacking consultancy agency based in Italy, but actually working with clients from all over the world, and Cassandra. Cassandra is an AI consultant powered by marketing mix modeling, which will tell you exactly how to allocate your budget over all of your campaigns in order to maximize ROI and get the most out of your advertising. So let's get started. In this course, we will cover everything about marketing mix modeling, from an introduction to marketing mix modeling to the 5 main steps of an MMM workflow, and then we will go over the pre-modeling phase, where we collect, validate, and transform data, then to the core of marketing mix modeling, which is the modeling phase, in which we will see what feature engineering means and how to do that, as well as how to model a marketing mix model and how to optimize the model once it's ready. But then we will cover one thing more, because once you have built your model, which actually works and is great, you need to understand how you can transform the insights you get from the model into actions so that you can share those with your stakeholders or your marketing team or your colleagues in order to actually start implementing the things that you learned from the marketing mix modeling process. And this episode will be, of course, an introduction to marketing mix modeling. So, in this episode, we will cover, first thing, what marketing mix modeling is. You will see a lot switching from marketing mix modeling to MMM. These are just 2 ways to say the same thing. So don't worry about it. They mean exactly the same. After that, we will cover how MMM compares to MTA, which is multi-touch attribution. And then we will see what are MMMs used for and how do they work, as well as what kind of options are available on the market as of today, which is March 2022, in order to start using marketing mix modeling right away. So, first things first, let's get a little bit of context about what we are talking about, okay? Imagine you are a growing business which rely a lot on advertising. The more you grow, basically, the more you have to split your investments into multiple channels and campaign types. And so the budget allocation for your advertising starts to become a real challenge. And in order to analyze and optimize 10, 20, 30, or even more different campaign types simultaneously in a data-driven way, is really difficult for most marketers, because you have to look at many different dashboards which will give you usually different kind of data, and to understand how to optimize all of them in order to get the most of them is really going to be tough. In addition to that, ever since April 2021, everything has become even more difficult. In fact, from April 2021, iOS 14 was deployed, and basically there was this shift where users started to be more privacy focused on their activities on the internet. In fact, this made tracking tools like Google Analytics, which are based on cookies, far less reliable, with discrepancies that have proven to be as high as 30% on conversion attributes between real data and data shown from the tracking tools. And the consequences of this is that marketers and businesses in general can't see the real impact of their campaigns, so they won't know which to increase, which to decrease, and this leads to wasted budget, increase in CPO, and lower contribution margin. And the result of all of this is that direct-to-consumer brands, scale-ups, big companies who rely mainly on advertising investments are now making less money than before. So, this is where marketing mix modeling really comes in hand. But at this point, you may be asking yourself, what is marketing mix modeling? Marketing mix modeling is a set of statistical techniques apply it to historical data in order to understand how different factors are impacting our sales. All of this is done in a privacy-friendly and data-driven way, which can be applied even to non-marketing activities. And the main difference, in fact, between MTA and MMM is that multi-touch attribution is based on users' behaviors data. So you will need user-level data. You will need to know exactly each checkpoint that your users have done with your brand before converting, in order to understand how each different activity is impacting your sales. And not only this is really getting tough to do with these problems with cookies, because maybe I see an ad on my mobile, then I switch to my desktop, I don't allow cookies and stuff like that. But this really gets imprecise whenever we work with offline businesses as well. And what I mean with this is, imagine I see an ad on Facebook today by Nike, and I like the shoes I see and I want to buy them, but I decide to go tomorrow to a local store and buy the shoes. Nike, there is no way Nike can know, thanks to multi-touch attribution, that my conversion in their local store was driven by the ad I saw on Facebook, because simply they cannot track that. And this really comes to a huge problem, because, you know, marketers that are going to see their Facebook business manager, they will see zero conversion of that on the campaign, and they will think, okay, this is not working. We may have to turn this off. But maybe most of the people that saw that ad are actually converting in local stores. Marketing mix modeling helps us fixing everything about this. So first of all, we don't need user-level data. We need only aggregated data, just like how much we are spending day by day, how many sales we are generating, and how many organic visitors we have on our website and stuff like that. So no user-level data. Moreover, this works really well with mixed sales channels, as well as channels that are difficult to track for marketing, like television maybe, or radio. Because you don't know how many people are converting out of the ones that are seeing your TV. However, since we are doing not a user behaviors-based tracking, with MMM, with our statistical analysis, we can understand how each and every factor is having an impact on our revenue, on our sales. And specifically, there's more to the statistical attribution. In fact, there are many things that marketing mix modeling can help us for. And besides the statistical attributions, just like we said, which basically tells us which variables and how much these variables are influencing our sales, we can understand exactly what is the ROI for each advertising channel. We can get an idea of what happens in case we spend a specific budget on our campaigns. So we can do forecasting. We can tell the model, okay, I want to spend $10,000 on Facebook next week. What's going to happen? How many sales I'm going to get? And in addition to that, once we have this well-trained model which works, we can ask the model, look, just tell me what's the optimal budget allocation that I can do over all of my different campaigns, all of my different channels, in order to maximize every single campaign's ROI, and in order to drive the most possible revenue in the next week, in the next month, and so on. And this is really useful because that's just the best possible allocation for all your channels at once. To give you an idea of how marketing mix modeling works, we will see later on in this course, and we have seen in the course contents before, that the steps for a marketing mix modeling project are mainly 5 steps. In this image here, we are not focusing on the single step itself. We are just going to give you an overview of the process. So the first building block of marketing mix modeling is data. In fact, you will need to be 100% sure about your data, whether they are actually accurate or not, because there is this saying, which is trash in, trash out. So if you provide the model with trash data, you cannot expect the model to be precise. You cannot expect the model to be accurate, and the forecasting is going to be wrong, and you are going to waste even more budget because simply the model is wrongly trained. So you need to be 100% sure about your data. And mainly the data can be divided into these three categories. So the first thing is marketing data, such as how much you are spending on your marketing channels, how much impressions you are driving, how much clicks you are driving. And this is different from saying how much conversion you are driving from your marketing, because impressions or clicks are ground truth. There is no way that an attribution problem can bring you a wrong impression number. Impression is just the number of people that have seen your ad, that have been presented your ad to. So we only use this kind of variables, no variables such as conversion or conversion rate or stuff like that. Only impressions or click or something like that. So marketing data is this: how much you are spending, how many impressions and clicks you are driving by those level of spends, as well as organic variables such as how many organic sessions we are having week over week and stuff like that. Then there are business metrics, and business metrics basically are, for instance, what's the price of my product? If we are doing experiments on the pricing, we may see there is a correlation where the higher the price, the lower the sales or stuff like that. So we want to include this kind of metrics whenever we can. Maybe we are having an event, like a brand event, maybe we are doing a webinar or something like that. These are all events that we want to include in the model to understand whether or not there is a correlation between these events and our sales. And then the last one is external variables, because your sales are not only influenced by variables that you have control on. One thing can be COVID, for instance. COVID has changed so much about so many industries, and that's not something that you have control on. So you have to include external variables as well. Something like what's the weather going to be like? Maybe sunny days are going to drive more sales than cloudy ones or rainy ones. What's the situation of COVID in your country, or maybe in the countries you are selling to, whether or not there is a lockdown or something like that, as well as many other things such as the changes in oil price, maybe, or the exchange like euro to USD and stuff like that. Once we have all our data set, collected, cleaned, formatted and everything, we start the modeling phase. And there are two things that we mainly do here, which is, first, we do a set of diagnostic analysis in which we are going to explore the data a little bit. We'll try to understand if there is some clear correlation between some of the variables, maybe, so that we can choose potentially to exclude some variables, or maybe to aggregate some of them because they are so similar that it's better to not split by two different campaign types, but maybe only use the whole Facebook channel, for instance. And once we get this diagnostic analysis done and we have an idea of what our business is like based on the data that we have, we start with the statistical analysis. And the statistical analysis is basically the core of everything, the core of marketing mix modeling itself. And one thing that's important to note is that you may not get the best result out of your first modeling phase. In fact, there is another step here, which is optimization. It's important that after you have built your model, you actually analyze it and understand how you can optimize it. Maybe you have to tune a little the equation, or in general, you have to add more variables, you have to remove some variables and stuff like that. So you have to optimize your model. Once you have your final model, the best one possible that you manage to actually generate, then there is the last phase, which is the output phase. And here we can do several different things. The first thing will be some sort of report about what we have learned from the modeling phase, which may be a custom dashboard or a presentation or something like that. Then we can dig deeper inside the attributions part and actually see what's driving sales, what's working, what's not, what we should stop spending money on, what to invest more and stuff like that. And the last part is the budget allocator. So then we want to question the model how we can maximize our ROI. So how should we allocate our budget in order to drive the most sales possible? And to give you a little more an idea about how this is going to work in practice, imagine you have your sales on a time series like this. So we see that from 2016 approximately to 2018, our sales over time changed like this. So here we have approximately $3 million in sales, and every week this changes accordingly to what happens in reality simply. Okay, what we do with marketing mix modeling is trying to derive an equation from this time series that best describes our sales variation. And the equation will use all of the input variables that we give the model to describe the sales. This means that it will find the correlation between sales and each variable and the variables themselves and try to do something like this. So the red line here, the predicted value, are actually values generated by the marketing mix model and the equation behind the marketing mix model. And you can see it fits pretty well. And the further on we go over the data, the better it fits, because the model is going to learn from what happens before and is going to tune itself in order to get better and better and basically stick as much as possible to reality. And once we have this equation ready, once we have our model, what happens is that we can use the equation and tell, look, I'm planning on spending 10,000 on Facebook. Next week is probably going to be sunny and there is no lockdown here and stuff like that. We are going to set the input variables in a way that we are planning to for the next week, next month, next day, or stuff like that. And the model will be able to tell us exactly how much we are going to generate the next week, the next month, or so on. And there are different options to do this kind of modeling on the market as of today. Mainly, we can divide the options in three parts, which is third-party consultant, SaaS solution, and frameworks for MMM. And as you can see, there is basically this thing where the more consultancy we get, the least skill we need, because simply the consultant is going to do everything for us and is going to guide us through how everything works and how to integrate the model insights in our actual marketing. And the more you want to build the model yourself, the less consultancy you are going to get, because simply you will be doing it yourself. So you will need to understand really everything behind marketing mix modeling and basically have no help from a third-party person. And these solutions, of course, have their advantages and disadvantages. So the first thing will be to use a third-party consultant, just like Cassandra, for instance. What will happen is that we get together, we do a meeting, we do a series of meetings in which we define what we want to get out of our marketing mix modeling project. We define all the data that we need to integrate in the marketing mix modeling project, and then you don't need to worry about everything. You will get all your data centralized in a single data warehouse, a single database basically. Then the data will be validated, formatted, cleaned, aggregated, and just get ready to be modeled in a marketing mix modeling. The marketing mix modeling process, the optimization process will be all on us, and then we will present you with a custom dashboard in which you will have both diagnostic analysis on your business, which will not be based on multi-touch attribution, but will be based on the marketing mix modeling attribution, as well as the marketing mix modeling itself. So you will have a budget allocator telling you exactly how to optimize your budget in order to maximize ROI every 2 weeks, every month, or so on. And we will do a call every 2 weeks or every month in which we will review the model updates, because the models will be put into production and they will update themselves automatically. And we will guide you through reading the insights from the model and define experiments to prove hypotheses that we can extrapolate from the models themselves. Otherwise, there is a middle ground between a third-party consultant and doing that yourself, which is SaaS solutions, such as Master. But these kind of solutions require you some sort of knowledge, because you need to actually understand what you're going to do. You need to do the model yourself, the optimization yourself, the transformations yourself. And usually these are going to be really expensive solutions, because a license will cost you anywhere from $15,000 to up to $50,000 per year usually. And all of this will be limited in an environment in which you will be able to do only what has already been built for you. Whereas if you work with a third-party consultant, which has it owns the code of the model, you can get your own customized model just for your business. And the last thing is doing the marketing mix modeling by yourself. And you can use frameworks just as Robin, for instance, in which you will have a set of functions already prepared to use, and you will have to do all the data collection, aggregation, centralization by yourself. You will need to understand which variables you will need, which to exclude. You will do the modeling phase by yourself, and then the optimization by yourself and stuff like that. And that's going to be the thing where you don't need no consultancy, because you can do everything on your computer, but you will need the most skill, because everything is just like you are building by yourself. You can use frameworks, or you can go from scratch, of course. Frameworks are going to be a little easier for starters, but basically will give you, of course, much freedom over what you are going to do. And this is all for the first episode of this course, guys. Thank you so much for watching. In the next episodes, we will start seeing what the main steps are for a marketing mix modeling project. We will go a little in depth about how to start the marketing mix modeling project, how to define business objectives, and to actually start the data collection phase. And then we will cover the pre-modeling phase, modeling phase, and the transforming insights into actions. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.